Okay, I think the recording has started. Okay, good morning. I wanted to do this, excuse me, quick video, excuse me, to show you how to kind of go through project part one, also known as a systematic sample for your semester project. So a little bit of background on your project parts. You guys will have 6 project parts throughout the term, and overall, over the course of those 6 project parts, you will complete the majority of your actual semester project. The semester project is due at the end of week 14. That is a requirement. The project parts are parts of that. And what happens with the project parts is it allows you to couple things. One, gain feedback on those slides prior to project submission. Each project part that you submit, you will have a max of 5 points. However, you will not see those points go into your overall score. What will happen is there have been such situations in the past where learners have not submitted their project for whatever reason, and it can drastically hurt your grade. So if you complete the project parts and you do not submit the actual project, we can use the project parts as part of the credit for the project, if that makes sense. So again, I highly suggest these project parts. I highly recommend, like I said, you'll gain feedback for the project and it will allow you to basically complete the project by the time we get to week 14. And if you forget or have an issue or an emergency, you can't submit the project, we can count that as part of the credit. So I want to show you how to go through the process of doing your systematic sample. And first and foremost, I want you to download. So I'm sharing my screen. I want you to download the actual template. So you'll go to your home page and you'll go to your webinar links. I'm going to show you where to find the correct template. And then go to your webinar recordings. So if you're not sure where to find webinar recordings or any resources or recordings that instructors do, this is where you will find that, okay, where the recordings are. And if you scroll down, you'll see project resources. So there'll be videos here also that other instructors do. This is also where you will find the template. I have shared it in the announcements. I have shared it in the Teams chat for our course. Oops. I have shared it in my announcements. I will share it on the discussion Q&A. I've shared it in the Teams. I will send an email with the template as well. I want you to download that template. Now, when you click it, it's not going to download it. It's just going to open it on your browser. And what happens with that is if you try to submit that when we get to week 14, you could have issues uploading it. So you need to download it to your computer. So you could do that by going to File, creating a copy, right? And downloading a copy to your computer. Everyone should have access to PowerPoint. If you do not have PowerPoint on your computer, I do believe the school provides that. So you want to contact IT. So if you look at this PowerPoint, this is basically your full semester project. You're not doing every slide here for this particular project part, but the project parts will go over the whole project. So what I mean by that is, you have your title, you have your abstract. This is the last thing that you will do. Project part 1 is the sample set. Project part 2, frequency distributions. Project part 3, measures of center, 5-number summary, and standard deviation. Project part 4 will be the 90% confidence interval. Project part 4 is the summation of the first 3 project parts. Project part 5 is the 90% confidence interval, and then project part 6 is the hypothesis test. So, and the conclusion. So by the time we finish or complete all these project parts, you will finish your actual semester project, except for, of course, the abstract slide, which we will get to that after everything. So again, download the template to your laptop. This is where you're going to be inputting the stuff as you progress. And when you submit your project parts, you could submit your whole template and your whole PowerPoint, and I will just, grade the corresponding slides for that project part. So sample set slide is the project part 1. Let me show you how we kind of do that. You're going to choose one data set from the data sets for the semester project page. I will show you how to access that. You're creating a systematic sample. So for week 1, we talked about sampling methods. Systematic sampling method is one I said that you were going to use for your project, which has a starting point at random, and then you're selecting every nth, and we'll show you how to pick those values. I'll explain what this says. Use your birth month as the starting role. I'll do an example. Write at least 2 quality sentences explaining which data set you used, what your starting number was, your nth value, how you did it. Basically, how did you sample? And I'm going to, again, show you an example. How did you sample such that anyone reading your explanation can recreate your sample the exact way that you did and get the exact same sample? Then you're going to list your 35 values in the order in which you collected them. And I'm going to say, let's add to another portion to this where you're going to include your sample in ascending order, okay? Because it might be beneficial to have it in ascending order as well, meaning from least to greatest. So we're going to do it on here. Right? That's where you guys are going to input the information. Let me show you where to find your data sets. So we're going to go to modules, and this is me kind of quickly accessing it, but you can go through week 2 information as well. And you can click project part 1, and this is where you have information also about the project part, but we want to go to the data sets. And you'll have the instructions. There's an example here as to one method. I'm going to show you different options in terms of sampling because I prefer not to have too much repetition. I'll show you what I mean. And then if I go to data sets here, you'll see the data sets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different data sets that you can use. There's a video here also that shows you how to do it. So you have a lot of different examples. And then you pick one of these. How do you pick it? Just click it and you'll see your population table. This is kind of like your population. You'll be sampling from that table. And that will be your population table that you will sample systematically from. So let me grab it. So let's, I'm going to show you an example. Let's, and I'm going to go back to this example here to discuss what this means. All right, so here's kind of what I want, what I'm looking for. Pick one. You don't have to pick the same population that I picked, but I picked, for example, 2013 average annual number melanoma mortality. That's the sample that I chose. Pick another one. You don't have to pick the same one. My birthday, I'm going to write down my birthday. My birthday is May 6th, which means it's the month 5 and the day 6. Okay, so I'm going to sample systematically from this population. Okay, I need a starting point. Everyone should start in row 1. I'm going to start in row 1, column 5, because my birth month is the 5th month. So your birth month is telling you which column in row 1 that you will start at. So my starting number is 37. That's the first value that goes into my sample. Since I'm sampling systematically, that's the random starting point. I need an nth value, systematic sampling. And so this birthday is my nth value, which means I'm selecting every 6th. For my example, you guys are going to have different, obviously different numbers. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the second number that goes into my sample. Now I would probably type it on the template as I progress, but I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or you can actually just sample and circle them and then type it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some of you might find that there's a pattern, and you can see that as I continue, my pattern is going to continue to be in this column and this column if I select every 6th, which is fine. But the problem with this is that 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. I only have 17 values and I need to have 35. You must have 35 numbers for your sample. So I have to use a wraparound method. Now, one thing that you could do is continue to just count every 6th or every nth. In my example, every 6th. But if I do that, notice, I'm going to start here, 1, go back to row 1, column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm landing on the same exact values that I just had. And that's a lot of repetition. I personally would prefer if you try to avoid that. Now, technically, if I choose another one of these populations, that might not happen in that case. So you could choose another one, that's one option, and you might not have the same repetition. Another option that you could do if you have this repetition is to choose someone else's birthday. Choose another data set, choose somebody else's birthday, it doesn't matter to me, as long as you kind of like don't have this continuous repetition. The other option is following this example. If Quinn does not get the 35 required values but runs out of data, they will wrap around. So if the last number was 49 in column 2, row 9, then the next value would be 220, column 9, row 2. So the idea is that we take the last number, which in my case is this one. Let me change my color so I know. And my last one is in column 5, row 9. I'm going to switch. I'm going to say column 9, row 5. I'm going to switch the numbers. And column 9 is here. Row 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is here. This is where I'm going to start again to continue to count. So I switch the column number and the row number of that last value. And then I start there and continue to select every nth, in my example, 6th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I continue, and I don't have that repetition. Now, some of you might go, that's a pain in the butt, which is fine. So what's the other option? You can continue to count every nth, but if you get the repetition, choose another data set or use someone else's birthday. If you want to use a particular data set and your particular birthday and you have the repetition, then you can go and use this method. It's not that bad. Select 35 numbers, okay? Select 35 numbers. Then, where is it? Then we go to the template, which you should have downloaded onto your computer, and you're going to discuss how you did it. I sampled from the data set, blah, 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 systematically. I started in row 1, column, in my example, column 5. I selected every 6th as my nth value, and I continued to count until I got to the end of the table. Unfortunately, I did not have the 35 values, so I had to wrap around. What is your wraparound method? Discuss how you did that, right? So it's important to describe your process such that anyone reading it can recreate the same exact sample that you created. That's very important. Make it detailed. Then you're going to list, right? List the values. So you can probably 35. I would just try to keep it where you're it's not where it's not like instructions are on your slide. So the 35 values in the order in which they were collected, type them in. I suggest you also put them in ascending order. Now, if you watch my webinar, I gotta find my TI-84, then you know that there's a way that I can put or create a sample in ascending order from the calculator. What I suggest is that because you're going to use this sample throughout your semester projects, all project parts, and through your semester project, you don't want to continue to input 35 values into your calculator. That's going to be a pain in the butt over and over again. So when we input values into our calculator, we're going to go to Stat and Edit. My suggestion is to put your sample for your project into L5 so that you have the 35 values there. You don't have to rewrite them, re-input them into your calculator, and it won't affect the assignments that you have to do in the course where you're probably going to use L1 and L2. It's kind of out of the way. Input your 35 values here. Let me just put random numbers. Okay, input your 35 values here, right? Put them in here. Make sure they're correct, right? Go through and make sure to go slow. Make sure that you get them in there and then you won't have to redo it. Okay, they're in L5. Remember that they're in L5. Okay, I'm gonna second quit. And then you can use your calculator to put them in ascending order. Stat, sort A, sort in ascending. You have to tell the calculator which list. You put it in L5 for your sample for your project. On top of the number 5 is L5 in blue. I'm gonna go second and 5. I'm saying calculator sort L5 in ascending order. Enter. Told me it's done. So if I go back to stat and edit, now, oops, L5, these are in ascending order. It's easy to identify min, max. You can see repetition of values. You can find the mode easily, etc. So you have it in ascending order. And again, I suggest that you put your ascending order here as well. Remember to delete directions. And that is it for project part 1, right? Type your explanation in detail. Type your 35 values in the order they were selected. Type your values in ascending order. And you can even at the bottom here in a corner, put the table, where is it? Put the table with the colors on it. See how I change colors? You can print screen this, you can screenshot this and put it on your actual slide as well, which can help support your explanation, make it easier to follow along with. And that is it for project part 1. Save your template to your computer, right? Save your work on your template, and then submit that PowerPoint for project part 1. If you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully that helps. Okay. Other than that, reach out.